I know what it feels like to be in that meeting, wanting to speak up, wanting to speak power to truth, wanting to let them know what they ignore to be aware of. But something inside you holds you back. You feel it, and you feel it in your body, maybe in your stomach, in your shoulders, maybe in your throat chakra. The hesitation, the second guessing, and the mental loop, and the inner thoughts and story telling you, what if they don't take you seriously? What if you're wrong? What if you're failing? What if you don't have the right data? Have you been there? I have way too many times. And for the longest time, I thought that was just me. That was my identity. But it wasn't. It was a pattern, and I chose to break the habit of being myself. Welcome to video number 2 in the Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself series, where I'm teaching you, taking you through my own journey of how I break the pattern of being myself. I'm gifting you with tools and insights so that you can start on your own quest to enjoy more of life, have more freedom, take your career to the next level, and really going from being a yes woman and a feeling that you're a fly on the wall to being that powerful woman who can speak power to truth in an authentic and effortless and freeing way, because you know that you need to be in the room and you know that they need to hear something that they ignore to be aware of. Today we're talking about the power of thoughts, and it's so important. There's something I want you to realize. I need you to realize that you have full control of the thoughts that you think, and you have full control of how your life unfolds right now. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. And so you don't experience life, but you experience what you focus on. And that's what we're diving in on today. What is it that you focus on? And where is that starting point so that you can rewire your starting point so that you can truly enjoy more of life, have more freedom, more joy, and more success in your career? Let me give you an example where I adopted a very unhealthy habit, a pattern that set me up for success for most of my life, but it also had huge consequences. And as I'm sharing this story with you, I invite you to lean in and borrow the belief that you can too shift your thoughts. It doesn't require you to be genius. It only requires you to be truly committed that you can actually become a different version of yourself just by shifting thoughts. And I'm speaking to high successful leaders like you who are stuck in their thought patterns, who have adopted other people's limiting beliefs, who blindly have adopted labels. They want to break through and break free from that yes woman, that nice girl, and really speak power to truth. And it all starts with the power of thoughts. When I was a child, I was insecure, and I kept telling myself that my sister was smarter than me, that I had to work harder than her to get B plus, get an A. She just like got it, but I didn't just get the A. And becoming more aware of who I am, I can now see how I conditioned myself to believe that success had to be hard, that in order for me to succeed, I had to put in so much effort, that I had to really prepare, and I was just dumb. That was a belief system that I blindly adopted. It got me a long way in life, but I came to a point of realization that could life be different? And yes, it can. And that's the insight I'm gifting with you today. Before an exam, I would overstudy and I would tape bathroom walls with notes for me to memorize Latin words, Latin verbs, history highlights, and even math formulas. And I can vividly see it in my mind's eye how I had plastered the walls in my bathroom with all these notes. And here's where it followed me into my career. I would over prepare for meetings whenever I was going to meet a person with higher ranks, or even when I was going to meet people that were more dominating than me. The habit of overthinking, the habit of over preparing had become a part of my personality and a part of my identity. But the truth is, it was just a pattern. And it was a pattern I had to unlearn. Here's where this habit of overthinking and over preparing really cost me, and maybe it's costing you too. And I see it as a pattern amongst a lot of high achieving leaders. Waking up with headaches and leaking energy. When I was constantly overthinking, when I was constantly worrying about, did I say the right thing? What did they say? I'm about to get fired because I said that. Did I say the right thing? Did I say what they wanted me to say? That would lead to burnout. And every Saturday for a period, I would wake up with headache. I would wake up by migraine, and I would analyze everything. I would read the same email again and again and again. And I just really couldn't feel safe in my body. And I also vividly recall feeling drained even before I would walk into a meeting with higher ranks or dominant people. I would simply start leaking energy when really I needed energy the most. Another consequence was that of not truly believing in myself. If you truly believe in yourself, you would have shoulders down. You would wake up loving life. You would wake up, wow, I have this meeting today. I can't wait to serve. That was not me. I would come from a place of not believing in myself. Let's say I have a meeting at 9 a.m. I would wake up and I would reread the PowerPoint presentation. And I would, like, is a comma right? I would read. And the reason I would read it again and again and again is that I was not believing in myself. I was not owning my worth. I was not owning my track record. I don't know if you can relate to that, but it's one of those, even now I can feel it in my stomach. It's one of those insecurities that we want to get rid of, and we really want to invite in the thought that you are really good enough, that you belong in the room and you belong to have a seat at the table. That is your seat at the table. And don't even question that, because you have an amazing track record that nobody else has. I want you to really understand that. Another consequence of leaking energy, maybe a spin-off of leaking energy, not believing in myself. When you are an overdoer, you focus on doing and not being in flow. When you're in flow, maybe you heard that, but you're in feminine energy and you just go with the flow. You're at ease and it's fun. But when you're a doer, you're so masculine, in that masculine energy, and you're focusing on being productive and delivering results. And I can even feel it when I'm taking you through that productive and masculine energy. What that cost me, and maybe it's costing you too, is that of ignoring your intuition. I completely ignored my intuition when I was, and I still am, very much in the doer mode, very much in fear mode. But your intuition is right. Your intuition knows and tells you whether it's right and wrong. Connect with your intuition when you come from not believing in yourself, when you come from a place of over-analyzing, overthinking, and over-preparing. And when you come from a place of feeling that you need to prove that you belong in the room, then you tend to show up as that nice woman, as a doer rather than the creator, as a doer rather than the facilitator of change who asks bold questions. For most of my career, I was a nice woman. I can do this and I can do this. And guess what? It had huge consequences, not only on my mental health, but also my freedom. How much time did I sometimes end up not having because I promised way too much? Had way too high a standard for myself. And I said, I can do that. And of course you're right. And then I would have to do everything over the weekend because I wanted to perform. I wanted to show that I was right. in that, yes, I'm capable enough in delivering this project. And that of being a nice woman, that of being pleasant, that of being easy to work with has huge consequences. But it all stems from what are the thoughts that you're thinking. Being a nice woman is not the same as being successful. You can be a nice woman and be respectful. You can be a nice woman and show up with the purpose to serve. And hey, what are you going to be aware of right now? That is serving, that is setting other people up for success. You can be nice and do that at the same time. But if you're just nice and do what other people want you to do, and then you sacrifice your own time, your own space, your own freedom, then we are showing up, and then you're showing up as that nice woman the wrong way. And it has huge consequences and costs. I know it on my own body. I know it on my own like bank account for freedom. And I said no to wasting energy. I said no to leaking energy, because actually you will end up leaking energy because you want to prove yourself. So that of telling yourself that you're not good enough, that of telling yourself that what if I'm wrong, then even there, that thought, you're leaking energy. So I was so committed to breaking the habit of thinking fearful thoughts, thinking limiting thoughts that would sabotage my own success. I was done playing that. I was done playing that nice woman. I was ready to reclaim power of my life, or reclaim control of my life. I was ready to reclaim the power so that I could experience more of life. And as I'm sharing this, I can feel it in my butt, and requires me really to say, yes, I'm ready to claim more freedom, and I'm ready to shift identity, because obviously people around you will suddenly experience you not being that nice woman. But here's what I want you to remember. You setting healthy boundaries for yourself, people will respect you more. If you want to fast track how you can get more people to listen and follow you, then grab my free playbook that I dropped below this video. This playbook is filled with tactics that I apply each and every day. And it's not just by reading that playbook, it's really about embodying, becoming that next version of you who show up with the least amount of effort, showing up to serve, and really owning your healthy boundaries, knowing that you're good enough, believe so much in yourself. You have to bet on yourself. If you do not bet on yourself, you start to leak energy, and people can feel that. And then people start to question you. So start believing in yourself. Start to love yourself so much. So grab your free guidebook. So grab your free playbook below. And I'd love to hear what shows up for you as you're reading it. So let's continue. When I started my personal development journey, I dived into free offers. I dived into the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I dived into the book of Think and Go Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I dived into the work of Neville Goddard. All these amazing teachers teach us that every thought carries a feeling and carries energy. And that's why the energy and the thought is so important. When you think a thought that makes you happy, that's energy. And you can feel that energy in your body. That's a feeling of it. And you do something that supports you, that serves where you want to go next. If you think a thought that doesn't set you up for success, guess what happens with your energy? You start to leak energy. And because you feel that energy, because you believe that thought to be true, you will then take an action that doesn't get you closer to where you really, really want to go. So for me to break the habit of being myself, I really had to be so on my thinking patterns, so on my thought patterns. And remember in my last video, I said that you were born naked. But now it's your choice. What belief do you really want to believe to be true? Where are you falling short of you setting yourself up for success? Where are you leaking energy when really you could that leakage. Tell yourself, what is a better feeling for it? What is the worst that could happen? And what if actually the opposite was true? That is the power of language, and that is the power of flipping your thoughts. So let me give you a real example of how you can control your thoughts and where you may also be leaking energy. A client of mine was recently invited to attend an offsite. Some people attended the offsite in person, and other people, including my client, attended the offsite virtually. My client was telling herself that story that she felt less than, she would just be a fly on the wall, they wouldn't pay attention to her. And guess what happened? Because she really believed that thought to be true. She came to that event with a lower level energy, and she showed up at day one, not really participating, like simi, it's good, but it's not really good. And she showed up during the day with camera and with camera, and off camera. We had a conversation about that, and I asked her this question: what if the opposite was the best solution? What if more people secretly had wish I could just have attended this meeting virtually, because I am in high demand. I have so much I want to achieve. And then suddenly she got more energy and she stopped leaking energy. So when she showed up for the day two of the kickoff, she showed up with full energy. She like showed up and owning the room. She engaged and she had camera on like all day long. And she felt like so at peace. She felt safe in her body. She was seen. She was respected. And she ended that day on a very high note. That is how powerful thoughts are. And that's why I want you to realize that you can shift your thoughts so that you can experience what you really want to experience, and so that you can get more joy out of life, so that you can lead better, so that you can have more freedom, so that you can avoid the consequences of thinking lower level thoughts. So how do you start to break free from your own thought patterns? You don't wait for confidence, because confidence will never come to you. Open the door on a Saturday morning, now I'm confident. That's not how it works. Confidence comes when you start to flex the muscle and you do the repetition enough so you get experience with flexing that muscle. Because confidence comes when you learn to dance with fear, when you do it anyway. So actually, it was not that as a disaster. It was actually good. Actually, I didn't die when I started to flex that muscle. I didn't die when I started to tell myself a better feeling for it. I didn't die when I decided not to be a nice woman. I didn't die when I started to say, I want to show up with respect and I can do it in an effortless and authentic and caring way, right? That's the way to do it. You do it, and you practice it. But in order for you to start breaking the pattern and breaking free from the thoughts that doesn't set you up for success, you want to interrupt that pattern. The first key is to watch your thoughts like a scientist. For the next 24 hours, I want you to notice every thought that comes up when you hesitate. When do you hesitate to speak power to truth? When do you hesitate to, I want to show up as that respected woman. I don't want to show up as that nice woman. When do you start to hesitate? Do you hesitate because of fear? Do you hesitate because of perfectionism? Do you worry what other people would think? What is it? Start to notice the pattern that is holding you back. Step two, or key two, is all about interrupting that pattern real time. And I mentioned that in video one. It took me 10 minutes to actually start to interrupting that pattern. It may take you 5 minutes. It may take you 2 hours. It doesn't really matter. But it's about interrupting the pattern real time. And it comes by you committing yourself to say, yes, I'm showing up. Not as a nice woman, not as a yes woman, but I'm showing up in that next meeting because I want to serve. Choose your case, choose your safe space for you to practice, and be so committed to practice. Now that you know what pattern you want to interrupt, now that you know what thought you want to rewire, Step 2 is all about interrupting that pattern real time. The second you catch yourself thinking that thought, I'm not good enough, what will they say? Then you get to tell yourself, that is just a thought, it's a lie. And then you just speak out loud. How I did it real time was that I picked a safe space to practice. Key two, in order for you to break free, is to interrupt that pattern real time. There's 2 steps in this key. First step is to decide what thought pattern are you ready to break free from. That I'm a nice girl, that I'm a yes woman, that what will they say if I say that? You want to be really committed to break through that pattern and break free from that thought. And you want to choose a meeting or a person that you want to practice your new tool on. Now you chose a thought pattern that you want to break free from, and you started to interrupt that thought pattern real time. The next step is obviously to choose a better action. Let's play with the idea that you feel intimidated when in room with people with higher titles. You no longer want to feel intimidated. You want to feel empowered. You want to feel and giving yourself the permission to believe in yourself and knowing that you have something they need to know. The action could be that you are starting to speak power to truth. You're starting to ask a really powerful question like, the decision you're about to make may not lead you to where you want to go next. And I'm curious, what are you ignoring to be aware of? Something like that, so that you honor the people in the room, so that you honor the conversation, but you also allow yourself to show up in a way that can help people make even better decisions. Whatever decision people are going to make, that is not you to choose. You cannot control the outcome, but you cannot control how you show up. So remember, you want to break through a thought pattern that limits you. You want to interrupt that thought pattern. I'm not good enough. I'm not as knowledgeable as them. I'm not as smart as them. You want to interrupt that thought pattern real time. And you want to choose a better action so that you show up with power, so that you show up as the person you're meant to be, so that you show up as a woman who has so much knowledge that they need you in the room more than they know. Okay. So how do you break free? Don't wait for confidence to show up, because confidence won't show up on your doorstep on a Saturday. Confidence comes when you flex the muscle. The more repetition put in, the more at ease you feel and the more you master it. So you want to learn to dance with fears, even though you feel it's uncomfortable in your body, even though your voice starts to shake, because that's the only way to grow, is to learn to dance with fear. Step 1, I want you to start observing your thoughts, and I want you to start observing your thoughts for 24 hours like a scientist. Observe every time you start to hesitate. That is a green flag. Where do you start to hesitate? And what thoughts are you telling yourself? That what will they think if I say that? Will they think I'm stupid if I say that? Is it because of another fear? I'm not confident enough. I'm not skilled enough. And maybe it's because of perfectionism. Where are you starting to hesitate? Why are you starting to go for a plan B, not really following through? Start to observe yourself and your thought patterns, your action patterns for 24 hours. Step number 2 is about interrupting that thought pattern, and that, because that is the way to rewire. That is the way to breaking the habit of being yourself. So whenever you feel a thought that will take you to plan B rather than plan A, where you start to hesitate, sit with that thought, sit with that feeling, maybe that uncomfortable feeling, and just honor that feeling and let that feeling flow through your body. And just like, that's just a thought. But I actually now know that I can think a better feeling thought and then choose a better feeling thought. What if the opposite was true? What if actually you're in that room because they need you to speak up? They need you to tell what they ignore to be aware of. What is the opposite? What if the opposite was true? Because oftentimes the opposite is actually true. So start to interrupt that thought patterns. And obviously, step 3 is all about action. Choose a new action. Choose to raise your hand. Choose to speak power to truth. Choose to call out what they ignore to be aware of, even though your voice starts to shake. That is a way to start breaking the habit of being yourself. Once you start breaking one habit, you start to experience, actually, that was quite easy. And I feel better. I feel more relaxed. I feel more at ease. I feel more joyful. And then you find another habit. And then that's how you keep momentum. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep growing. Keep leaning in. Keep learning to dance with fears. Because confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build one decision at a time. And in the next movie, I'm going to teach you how I connected with my future version of myself. And in the next movie, I'm going to show you how you can fast track breaking the habit of being yourself. And in the next movie, I'm going to share with you how you can fast track breaking the habit of being yourself, because when you break the habit of being yourself, you will experience more freedom, you will experience more joy, you will experience more success, and you will really experience more of life. I can't wait to connect with you once again. Thank you for being here. Till next time.